Welcome to our Breakfast Club call. My name is Pamela Pacheco, and I have the absolute honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host today. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. If you are joining us once again, welcome home. I remember when I first embarked upon entrepreneurship, going on 12 years, I was looking forward to these morning mentorship calls, not only for the information that I was going to receive, but also for the inspiration I was going to receive. See, I know that your subconscious mind is open the most in the morning and at night, and how you start your day sets the tone for your day. Greatness in is greatness out, and garbage in is garbage out. So kudos to each and every single one of you guys that decided to start your morning off with some fire this morning, with some positivity. I'm so excited to be here. Happy May 1st. This is going to be an amazing month. This is also Mental Health Matters month, right? May the 4th be with you. Shout out to each and every single person. By the way, housekeeping rules: if you own a business in Florida, right, make sure you have your annual report filed. Today is the deadline, and if you have no idea what that is, don't worry about it. It does not apply to you. But I'm excited. I'm grateful to be here with you guys. And I wanted to talk to you. If you were on our Breakfast Club call last week, we spoke about fearless legacy and what it means to let go of the fear and work towards your legacy. And those Breakfast Club calls are up on our Chosen Global YouTube page. They will be up on also on our Facebook page. They will be up on across all platforms so that you can get access to it. But the week prior to that, we spoke about how having clarity fuels momentum. And today, I thought it was fitting, especially because it's a new month. We are in second quarter, in the second month of second quarter. And I think it's important that when we think of game planning for a new month, when we also think of the mindset going into a new month, that we also just give ourselves some grace. So the call today is going to be called Grace and Game Plan: How to Win the Month with Intention. So if you have been following me for some time, it's all about not only intentionality, but purpose, power, showing up fully each and every single day, playing full out in all aspects, in our faith, in our family, in our fitness, in our fortune, in our fun. And when we were talking about last week of fearless legacy, it was more so of what it looks like to release the fear, right? And level up. And the week prior to that, when we spoke about how having clarity creates momentum, it's more so because when you do have that clarity, you're going to have the not only the direction that you need, but the direction that you need is what's going to accelerate the speed. And momentum is fueled by having clarity. So, as we're stepping into a new month, and we're talking about the mindset behind the new month, and we're stepping into not only the mindset, but I think that it's important to have a mindset with the method. Often hear me say your mindset is where your mind sits. So don't let it sit there if it's not allowing you to grow, not allowing you to prosper, not allowing you to get better, to get closer to where it is that you want to go, to who it is that you want to be. So as we're talking about grace and game plan, because yes, of course, we want to win. Absolutely. But not at the cost of burning out. And I think sometimes, if we're being honest with each other, not only do we burn out because we are overworked, but I also think that it's because we're overthinking, and because sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not, we're investing time in self shaming. And when you're talking about moving forward with intention, it's important to move forward with intention. Yes, absolutely. But it's also important to move forward with compassion. So let's talk about giving yourself some grace. So, all of us, I think we can all agree that sometimes we set goals and we don't hit them, right? Life happens. And it's important that you give yourself grace when you know that you're not lazy, when you know that you've been working. And sometimes it's not that you're lazy, but your habits have been lazy, if we're being honest, or you're just tired, because we're human and that's okay. And grace is not necessarily a pass to procrastinate, it's a practice of self leadership. It's also a way that, I think that Sometimes people hear the word grace and they get scared because they're like, oh, grace doesn't apply in business because grace is a biblical term, or it's a religion, or no. Grace was given for relationship really more than anything. But grace, yes, it's not a path to procrastinate, but it is a practice of self-leadership, because it's how we bounce back with perspective instead of pressure. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we got to put pressure on ourselves. Absolutely. Because if you don't hold yourself to a higher standard, how can anybody else? And a lot of the times, you're not doing the things that you said you were going to do. And you got to hold yourself accountable, right? I have mentors that hold me accountable. I have therapists that hold me accountable. I have coaches that hold me accountable, accountability partners that hold me accountable. Because the reality is that pressure, holding yourself accountable, is absolutely important. But what I'm talking about is when in a moment, and I'm going to be very transparent, right? So being sick on and off, traveling on and off, my eating and my working out has not been necessarily how I need it to be. And last month, I had a moment where I felt not so much that I was stuck, but I just felt like I was dropping the ball, because I looked in the mirror, and the mirror don't lie. And everybody else is like, "Oh my goodness, you look so good." And I'm just like, "Yeah, but I know what my goals are, and I know what my waist was looking like, and I know what my abs were looking like, and I also know what my eating has not been like, and I also know well, my workouts have not been like when I haven't been in the gym." And I spent some time beating myself up. However, I also said, hey, you know what? Instead of spiraling, I sat down and I just asked myself, what's really going on here? And I think sometimes as we're holding ourselves accountable and also moving to the next level, it's also asking ourselves, okay, well, let me be real and also know that I am human, and it's okay if I'm using the past month as data. And I think it's important that when you look at your past month and you look at the past time that you're utilizing to evaluate it, you're looking at it as data and not as drama. Learn from it, bless it, and release it. And ask yourself, what did last month reveal to you about you? What did it reveal to you about your capacity? What did it reveal to you about your habits? What did it reveal to you about your mindset? So ask yourself, what did last month reveal to me about my capacity, about my habits, and about my mindset? Write that down. Right? Note takers are history makers if you're taking notes, because I always say take notes as you're going to not only learn this, apply it, but as if you're going to be able to teach it one day as well. So again, use the past month as data, not as drama. What did last month reveal to you about your capacity, about your habits, about your mindset? And here is another thing. When you actually look in hindsight and you can say, okay, well, this is what I did and this is what I was focusing on. And the reality is that sometimes you got to shift your focus in a season that requires it. And the only way that you're going to be able to know that is because you actually sat down with yourself for a moment. And yes, you're giving yourself grace, but you're also holding yourself accountable to doing what it is that you said you were going to do. And as we walk into this next topic, right? The next segment, it's aligning your vision. So you got to know your vision, it's what's going to pull you, and motivation cannot push you. And we spend a lot of time talking about vision, setting your goals, right? Your micro goals, but having that vision, what is your North Star? What is the vision for your life? What is the vision? Sometimes you need to write that down again. And I'll tell you myself, I had to rewrite my goals again. I had to rewrite my goals not only for the next 6 months, rewrite my goals for the year, rewrite my goals for the next 5 years, rewrite what that goals looks like. Why? Because your vision, it's your internal GPS. You hear it all the time. Your GPS is God's positioning system, right? But your vision is your internal GPS. And if you don't check in. You might be chasing someone else's destination. If you don't check in, you might be chasing someone else's destination. It's important for you to take some time to be with yourself. Take 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of time. Somebody's like, oh, 15 minutes is too long. Okay, do 5, do 10. But don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. Don't play yourself. Pay yourself. Okay, I could go on all day. But take 15 minutes to reread your goals. Write down your dream life. Ask yourself, is this still aligned with who I'm becoming? Is this still aligned with what it is that I am doing on a daily basis? Is this still aligned with who it is that I want to become? Is it aligned with the person I'm becoming? Is it aligned with who I see myself in 5 years? Is it aligned with the legacy that I want to create? Is it in alignment with my highest and best self? So asking yourself why, because your vision should excite you. Your dream life should excite you, not exhaust you. So again, take time and ask yourself, is this in alignment with who it is that I'm becoming? Here's something that helps tremendously. Journaling has completely been a game changer for me. And it is one of the tools that you guys often hear me talk about. I have been gratitude journaling since 2017. It completely altered the course of my life. And I think actually before that, since like 2016, since I actually learned about Bob Proctor and all of these things. But journaling is life for me. And it is not only a way that I talk to God, but it's also a way that I talk to myself. And you should really take some time to journal, because your journaling is going to also, it's where you get to be by yourself, with yourself. It's where you also get to not only give gratitude, but you also get to plan. You also get to dream bigger, believe bigger, faster, sooner. So take the time to journal. Also, if maybe you didn't do a vision board at the beginning of the year and not a physical one, it's still time for you to do one, right? Or even do a digital vision board and take time to rewrite your affirmations. Speak some affirmations over your life, speak some incantations over your life, and do it out loud. Take time to reassess these things and do them out loud. And here's something that I will tell you, if you're journaling today, or if you haven't, or if you plan to, write this down. What am I currently doing that's leading me closer to or further from my vision? And that may be a two-part question, right? So, what am I currently doing that's leading me closer to or further from my vision? So, or you can ask yourself, what am I doing that is leading me closer to my vision? Excuse me. And what am I doing that is moving me further from my vision? I think it's important as you take time for this month and you're, taking and holding yourself accountable, and you are taking inventory on the things that served you, on the things that did not serve you, on the path that you're on the things that are filling your capacity on every aspect. What are you putting in your mind every morning? What are you putting in your mind at night during your free time? Maybe you're like, Pam, I'm working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Okay, what are you doing in your toilet time? My friend Ida, she is one of our leaders in our travel and lifestyle club, and she absolutely has a business. She has a husband, she has a child, she has a whole family, right? Multiple businesses. And she's like, time is just an excuse that you use to say, to justify you being average. Time is just not having time is just an excuse that you use to just stay stuck where you're at, because you rather complain instead of change. Because there are such times when you're on the toilet and you got time, right? There is such time when you are about to go to sleep, or when you are about to get in the shower, or you're getting out of the shower. You find time for what it is that is important. You find time for the things that matter. So it's taking time to really sit with yourself and say, hey, you know what? This is what I need to do. This is what the vision looks like long term. I stopped dreaming a little bit. I got caught up in the routine. I got burnt out, right? However, I know that I have to reassess and give myself grace, because the reality is, if I don't change nothing, nothing's going to change. And again, my vision, it should excite me, it should not exhaust me. So what am I doing that is allowing me to bounce back? Because yes, grace is not a pass to procrastinate, but when we bounce back with perspective, it's different when you're doing it from a place of pressure. So take time to actually do that. Again, what are you currently doing that's leading you closer to your vision? What are you doing that is drawing you further from? The power of a game plan. Faith without works is dead. You need a game plan. And the reality. Sorry about that, guys. So, as we were talking about, now when we are getting into the power of a game plan, as I was mentioning, I don't believe that we necessarily need more motivation. I think that you need to set a monthly theme. So if you're saying, okay, my monthly theme is discipline, it's execution, it's peace, it's focus, right? So it's utilizing those things that you know that are going to serve you, but it's also, what is a word that anchors you? So whether it's discipline, that is going to be your word, or if it's execution, it is saying, hey, you know what? I am going to execute the things that it is that I set my mind on to do. If it's peace, if it's focus, break big goals into weekly mini goals, right? Those are our micro goals, then into daily micro tasks. So if you know your big goals, your macro goals, and you're breaking them down into weekly mini goals, and then those weekly mini goals, you can say, okay, well, I'm going to break it down into daily micro tasks. Ask yourself, what's one thing that I need to complete? What is one thing that I need to complete this week to feel accomplished? And I love whiteboards. So if you're a person that is not big into whiteboards, that's okay. You can use a digital planner, but I like my digital planner. I like to stay locked in. If you've ever worked with me in any capacity, you know my calendar is my second Bible. If it's not in there, it's just not happening. I schedule everything, but stay active, stay proactive on top of these things so that you are breaking down what it is exactly that you need to do. Because I do believe that, yes, you need to dream like a visionary. You need to plan like a CEO, but you need to show up like an athlete. And athletes show up each and every single time prepared. They show up each and every single time ready to execute, disciplined. And when you're talking about staying locked in, if you just stay locked in with one thing that it is that you said that you were going to do, you will be surprised on how that trickles down into each and every other thing that you set out to do, because it does affect each and every single area. Now, winning in all areas. Yes, dream like a visionary, plan like a CEO, show up like an athlete. But when you're talking about winning in all areas, it's important that, like I was saying earlier, you're auditing yourself, you're taking inventory. And it's not to feel bad, but it's just to stay honest. Rate yourselves from 1 to 10 in these areas, in your mindset, right? What has your faith look like? Rate yourself in what has your mindfulness look like? Rate yourself in what has your personal development look like? Your spirituality development, what has these things look like? Rate yourself in your family. Rate yourself in your fortune. And your fortune is your business, it is your career, it is the things that you have, your plans. Like, rate yourself in on the area of 1 to 10. And also ask yourself, okay, where am I with my finances, right? And rate yourself in your fitness. Your fitness is not only your working out, but it's your overall wellness, because it's the well-being of your whole being. So if you're asking yourself, you have to be honest in these areas in your health. It doesn't matter what angles you take that picture in. If you're not putting in the work consistently, you are going to be mad this summer. So make sure you are rating yourself. And then it's also rating yourself in, yes, your relationships, right? In your purpose, in your fun, because we believe in staying balanced, right? Your faith, your family, your fitness, your fortune, your fun, in all of the 5 F's, but making sure you're also, when you are rating yourself, you are picking 1 to 2 areas that this month you're going to intentionally level up. And you don't need to do everything. You don't have to have everything, but you do need momentum. And remember, as we spoke about a few weeks ago, your clarity is going to fuel that momentum. So sharing whatever it is that works for you, share it with the person that is your accountability partner. But also, I'll tell you that this is why my personal routine has become non-negotiable in my morning. My morning routine. Why? Because this allows me to not only stay on top of my fitness and my wellness, but it also allows me to stay on top of my mindset. It also allows me to stay on top of my faith. It also allows me to stay on top of my fortune. It also allows me to stay on top of my family. It also allows me to stay on top of my fun. So that that morning routine has become non-negotiable because in each and every single area of my life, it's had a positive effect on it. This is why I have days that are non-negotiable with my therapist. Why? Because it contributes to my overall well-being. This is why I have days that are non-negotiable where I'm budgeting. These are why I have days that are non-negotiable where I am just checking in on myself, checking in on all my gauges, right? These are why I have time that is non-negotiable, that I check in with my mentors, that I check in with coaches, that I check in with personal trainers, because these are things that are helping me grow in each and every aspect. But I also need someone looking outside. I need somebody else's perspective, because sometimes it's hard for us to see the bigger picture when we are still stuck in the frame. And you got to understand that you need somebody that is not in the same frame as you to give us the bigger and better picture. Hope you guys are getting value. I know we've had some technical difficulties. Type of V in the chat if you guys are getting value. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, great. So now, as we are bringing in this for a landing, I will tell you, success is holistic. It's not necessarily only about chasing income, but it's about chasing impact. It's about chasing inner peace. It's about chasing intentional joy and intentional joy. It's going to bring about the impact. It's going to bring about the inner peace. And I believe that these three things go all hand in hand. And I want you guys to, as you're going into this month, as you're going into this new month, and new month filled with possibilities and opportunities, and it's, say this affirmation: I move with grace and purpose. My month is not based on perfection, but on progress. I move with grace and execute with purpose. My month is not based on perfection, but on progress. And here's a challenge for each and every single one of us that is tuned in, watching this, whether you're watching the replay on Facebook, on YouTube, on any social media platform. Write a grace note to yourself. Forgive yourself for what didn't happen last month. Then write your top 3 priorities for this week. So forgive yourself for what didn't happen and write 3 top priorities this week and post them somewhere that's visible. And tag me, Pam the Plug, tag me, and let me know your word or your focus for the month. I would love to share it on my story and my platforms. But again, give yourself some grace and game plan. This is about winning the month with intention and making sure that, yes, you give yourself some grace. Yes, you align with your vision. Yes, you understand the power of a game plan, but understand that you are meant to win and chosen to win in each and every single area. Blessings on blessings, and I'll see you guys soon. Talk soon. Breakfast has been served.